Did you give Robin the good and bad news? Well, the good news is Mom said it's okay for her to hang out with you guys Saturday and spend the night. The bad news is she said it was okay. They can stay.
No.
Yes, you did. I told you in the car.
All right.
Anyhow, I saw that and then I forgot. It's just, it's seltzer. Brent loves seltzer. And an ice cream. Stop.
That lady's name that sings that song is Susanna. I just Googled, English song by Susanna.
Oh, okay.
And it's called The Lord Bless You and Put in Your Eyes there.
Oh, I see. So it's that same one that Megan does, but it's in Hebrew. That's cool.
Mhm, mhm.
Want me to sharpen that?
Oh, yeah, they did cut it. You're right. You're doing it.
Yeah, sharpen.
They did cut it kind of funny. Cool. Very nice. Did you do a surgery?
I would. sharpen
You
my-
what? Oh, sorry. Go get water and.
Oh, they cut this really bad.
We're lucky we even got it.
Oh, the kid was just messing around.
He asked me
On
three
his
times
cell
if I
phone the
wanted to
whole
leave
time.
a tip. Phone.
There were like 6 people in line that weren't waiting on any of them. Finally, somebody came out of the back. Well, the kid's still on his phone.
Oh, my goodness.
You open the door and start handing out pizzas. All of us are waiting that way.
Oh, I guess that's right.
Oh, did you want to leave a tip? You want to leave a tip? Not now.
Said I did, but that shit has him.
$20.
And it fails.
Was kind of weird.
I think so.
Brenda had this comment. No, it really looks like boogers on this. I'd go get a wet towel and wipe it on.
Oh, I lost it.
No, I'm just telling you, it looks, I'm just thinking about.
You know what the difference between broccoli and boogers is? Here's the least
Anyone
boogers.
else's life?
Not right now.
Not right now. You want a big one?
Uh,
But very odd.
Probably lucky they're cut it all. Really Christmas.
She cut it short.
That one on the floor.
Did I say that?
That was mine.
Well, it tastes good.
They didn't bring one out, so.
At least they didn't make you make it yourself, right?
Probably would have
Come on,
been
get
a
back
better
here, you want it
job.
faster? If you can do any better. You probably could have made it.
Oh. Mm.
Oh, our fire alarm went off
That's
today.
always been pretty- Factory, I said, yeah, it's the factory.
Yeah, me too, homesick.
Long line.
We went to. We went to. And then,
I remember seeing that, but I got a note last night. I don't know if it's not- We wanted to go to, I don't know if you know, but Blaze Pizza does the high-day pizza, it's $3, yeah.
oh,
But the line was nuts, so we just thought, man, it's not worth our time. Food outside. For one look.
heard that.
Sitting over here.
Yeah.
Are you having a good spring break coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did Dad go? He went to the room. Oh, there he is.
It smells like people eating pizza. It sounds like people. Quiet.
I guess this side of it is all money.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Who made the pizza?
Oh, that's pretty.
That's what you learned this week?
Yeah.
Okay. That might be interesting. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I think he should share. Oh, yeah.
Professional.
Whatever.
Oh, I should picture.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
So don't call on me to read.
That's good. That's good. That's excellent. Like it.
Gary?
Hey, Gary. Supposed to be the first thing you learn about, new language. It's so
Yeah, curse. Curse is-
Hello. So if you guys have been working on the translation stuff, there's, I've waited a few weeks. There's the one for chapter 4, the one for chapter 6, the translation out of the version you have, because as Steve figured out, if you go look it up in the Hebrew Bible, it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
So that's the English translation for those sections. If you would like to get yourself a piece, you can have that and look at it. How's everybody doing?
Good.
All good? Good. So, Wayne, I think you said did you guys have a chance to go look at the video links I sent out? Did that help? Do you think?
Talking to you, dude.
He knows, he's thinking.
Trying to think of an answer to incriminate me. It it didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt. Okay. Okay. Did you slow it down a little bit?
I slowed it down to 25%.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's really slow. She. Yeah.
And I was following along with my finger.
Yeah. No. That's works perfect. Good. Good. Yeah, it's a link to some videos on YouTube that has a rabbi reading the text, and then it puts the English translation above the word that he's presently reading. So you can kind of follow along. And my suggestion was to turn it down to like 70.75 for the speed, slow it down just a hair. And then you should be able to kind of follow with it a bit. Then you can go to 0.5 speed, which I think was a little harder, a little more difficult to do, but that's all right. So, all righty. Well, everybody ready?
Yep.
Jump in. You're loaded with pizza now, ready to go. All right. We're all going to take a nap now. Okay. So I did not mix up these today because I'm not as concerned about numbers right now. So we'll just kind of just practice on reading the word, but you don't have to know exactly what it is. I'll let you know which ones you probably want to pay attention to that will help you figure out what to know in the future. So let's do this. I'm going to start with you, Carol. Why don't you take the first three here and just go ahead and just pronounce them for right now.
Yasar,
Asar,
Esir,
Eser, perfect.
and Eser Ro'on.
So that'd be Esrim.
Esrim.
Esrim. Yep, exactly. So this one you want to pay attention to. Esrim, you don't really need to remember as long as you know that the plural ending changes 10 to 20 in that case. But Eser will come in all kinds of different forms, as you can see. Asar, Esri, I mean, it just comes in all kinds of forms. But if you memorize this 3-letter root, then you are usually good to be able to figure out what you're dealing with from the context of the text there. So Wayne, why don't you give us these last two here? So it'd be Ashte.
Hey,
Very good. But your rhythm was spot on. Your rhythm was spot on. No, that's important. That's it. That's important. Yeah, Eshta, Ashte, you were right there. So Ashte. That's okay. And what's our last one down here?
Shaw?
So this is Rish. That Aleph is totally silent. It's only there to tell us what the root is. So it's Rish. You just read right through the Aleph. On, Rishon. Rishon, which means first. And our root here on this one is from Rosh or head. Head.
Why is that O and Bob thing and not an O? Did I say no?
It is a no vowel.
It is.
It is. Rishon. Yeah, you said it. Yep, you did it. Nope, you're good. You're good. So I'll ask this question, this little ending right here. Does it look familiar? Have we learned about this ending? This Sarayot.
Female? It's one of those.
It's a masculine. and it's a plural, and it would tell us what usually when it's attached to a word. Do you remember? It's in construct. It's in construct. So you might say something like one of the brothers. Okay. But again, as long as we kind of keep in mind what our roots are, you can usually figure it out. The numbers I don't worry about too much. You can kind of figure those out along the way. So, but Wayne, very good. Excellent. You had, look, the rhythm, one of the hardest things to get. And if you had it nailed on that one. Well, that'll help. That helps a lot. I'll tell you that. All right. Steve-O down there. Sorry, Steve. No problem. Give us the first three here. Okay, so this one's a little tricky. Ra-va-va. Ra-va-va.
I was wondering if it would just be a longer one or you said it twice.
Yeah, no, it's ra-va-va. So it's it's got a little more rhythm. It comes from the root rav. We see the root rav often. It just means many. But when it takes its full form of ra-va-va, it means a whole lot of many, or 10,000 or a multitude in this case. So go ahead and give me the next one. So that'd be your rhythm, spot on, perfect. But it's rebo.
Oh,
Bow, that's an O vowel. Rebo. So very nice, good rhythm on that one. Just means again 10,000. You can see from ra-va-va. And how would we know? We'll ask this one to Daisy. See, we're over here. This is small. It's a resh bet over here. Where's my extra bet in this word? Think of what your favorite animal is. A dagesh. That's right. It tells me it's doubled. That's right. So it's just kind of subsumed into here to tell me it's doubled. So it's actually the same root of this as it is up over here. So when you start seeing these rav or ravava or the reeb words with the doubles, you're just dealing with a lot. Okay, just a lot. All right, go ahead and this last one here, Steve. So this one would be ravi, and then e, revi, and you have that little kind of break there, revi on it. So go ahead and try that again, revi. Yeah, there you go, perfect. Yeah, you're good. So means fourth. When we see these little kind of suffixes on numbers, it's either it's changing their form. It's going to put them into either ordered or an ordinal form, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or some kind of a construct form, the first of, the second of, something along those lines. But the root here is revi. It'd be the resh vav ayin for the number 4. I think we'll see that in the next slide. Gary, would you like to try the next two? So you were right there. Shavi e. Yep, which means seventh. Shava is an interesting word. Shava means 7. It is also the root used for the word for making an oath or describing an oath as well. So it's dual form, but it's related, because if you in the ancient Near Eastern world, oaths were tended to have some ritual associated, and that ritual would be done oftentimes 7 times. But it's also, if you want to say have a good week, you would say Shavua Tov, which would be 7 goods, essentially. So it's a way to communicate that. So you'll see Shava as 7, you'll see Shava as an oath, because 7 has this link to the oath, and also to the Shabbat, to Sabbath. So go ahead, Gary, on this last one down here. So this will be Shiv Im. Shivim. Perfect. Very good. You said it exactly right there. we add this plural on the end of it, and it just changes it from 7 to 70. That's it. So as long as you know the root of it, you see the shava, you know it's 7, you can pretty much work it out from there what you're dealing with. So you don't need to memorize 50 different forms of these numbers. You just need to know the main numbers, the 10 of them. That's it. And you can kind of work the rest of it out from there. All right, very nice. Okay, so Daisy, are you ready? Did I not make this large enough for you? Okay. We need a bigger TV. The accent's up here, so you're going to put your emphasis on the first letter. Mhm.
Oh.
Nope, nope. Just a va. She.
Ah.
So exactly. Sheva. Sheva. Which means 7. Sheva. You essentially have Sheva Yomim till your life is over and you're back in school. So very good. All right, give me the next one here. This is your syllable break right here. So sha, and then this is one syllable. Losh. Shalosh. Yep. Which means 3. 3.
Whoa.
All right, so you're going to get 30 since you said whoa. So the syllable break is right here. So this is one syllable, just this. She. Syllable break is right here. Lo. Your next syllable is right here. This whole thing. Shim. She, lo, shim. So say 3 for me again.
Shalosh.
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 Shaloshim. All right, so let's do it again. Shalosh. Shaloshim. Very good. Do you hear the similarity in the sound? Shalosh. Shaloshim. Shaloshim. You hear the similarity in the word? Okay, so that's your root here is going to be that sheen, lamed, sheen. That's going to be your root for 3 in that. So very good. All right. Miss Robin, go ahead and give us these last 2 here. Shlishi, perfect. Very nice. Shmini, very nice. Very good. You got it. Shmini. Shmini. This was the hardest one for me to remember for some reason. I still struggle when I see it. I'm like, I know that word. But now that you've said it that way, Shmini. Yeah, exactly. So Shmini. So yeah, it's Shmini. You're a Shmini. Could be what you name your snowman, which looks like, an 8. So very nice. Very good. Very good. You can see in these, again, shalosh, shaloshim, shlishi, these, you can hear the sound in them, which is one of the reasons you don't need to learn to read Hebrew out loud because you're going to do it in front of other people. But if you're reading out loud to yourself and you can begin to associate the sounds of the words as you hear them, then it will help you go, oh, wait, that sounds like something I know. And it will help, or used to know, or should know, right? Something like that. So, yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, very good. Very good. We have a whole group of numbers coming up again later. All right. Brent, I think you asked about Shawah last week, the rule. So a Shawah following a long vowel is usually vocal, and a Shawah following a short vowel is usually silent. The rules in Hebrew are still somewhat flexible, but that tends to be the rule.
Oh, okay.
Shawah at the first, if you have a Shawah on the first letter of the word, it's always vocal. It's an
So
always.
if I was shaloshim and then
Yeah, let me go back. Yep. So like right here. Sheloshim. This one is shalishi, but it's a short. It's a very short, just let the get you to the next side. Shmini. So that's just a shmini. Shmini. Yeah. Versus like if you do your name, Brett, those two consonants go together. Brent would be they would go together. It wouldn't be Berent. It wouldn't have that with it. So you'd probably have some kind of a shortened vowel in there to kind of help blend that together. But I don't think we have any BRs without a vowel between them. But yes, you'd asked, I think, about the Shawa, so I grabbed that just to put it back in.
It's not pronounced.
Correct.
And that's
Correct.
when it follows a short.
Short vowel typically isn't pronounced. My rule personally is if you need help
Correct.
to get to the next letter, just give it a little S sound.
Hmm.
If it's feeling rough, then just give it a little extra sound. So yeah, first beginning of the word, always silent. If you have a schwa at the end of the word, beginning of the word always has a vocal eh. End of the word, always silent. If it's followed by long vowel, vocal, short vowel, silent, if you have two in a row in the middle of the word, first one's always silent, second one's always moving, has a vocal. So if you kind of think of it as, think of where Hebrew is, first of the word, silent, last of the word, silent. If you have two in the middle of the word, first is silent, last one is an so it kind of reverses. And then the other ones get those rules. But if you can just remember the first always gets a little the second of two in a row gets an and any other ones that you have confusion about, just try it. See if it makes sense.
Yeah.
And then there's another little trick that will come and bite you in the butt occasionally. But we're not going to go there for a while. I was just reminded of it last Saturday. All right, construct forms. So we talked about the absolute endings, suffixes that can go on words and the construct forms of them. Tried to give some help on, you've got yods for the plural masculines they're pretty reliable. Get the I class vowels there. And then your oats for feminine plural will always be there. The only one you've really got to kind of pay attention to is this ot for the feminine singular. But my suggestion has been you just practice it with a horse. So susim, horses, susa, female horse, susot, female horses, and then sus, just plain suse, horses of, masculine, susat, feminine horse of, and susot, feminine horses of something. Just kind of get that in your mind. Sus, susim, susa, susot, suse, susot, or susat, susot. Just kind of remember those, practice those endings. Then it'll kind of help you figure out where to go back and pull them back from. Today's mainly a review and reading day. We have one piece of new information in the mix. And then just as a reminder on the construct, the phrase of, it's the of that gets added in here. So we have vowel changes. When you see these big long vowels on words, they're often forms that are not in construct. But when we start seeing reduced vowels, shortened vowels, then that's when you want to start to pay attention to something is probably we're in an of relationship to some degree. So the absolute word here, har, it's pronounced just the same over here, har, but we know that's a little different because the vowels changed. Har kodesh. Does anybody remember what a har kodesh is? Anybody remember what a har is? Kodesh is holy. Kodesh is holy. Har is a mountain. So yes, mountain of holiness, or a holy mountain is how we would render that. Somebody want to take a shot at this one? Ben David. Ben David. What's that one say? Son of David. That's right. Son of David. And how about a Davar David? It's a word or a matter, an issue of David. That's right. And then I added one down here for you. We'll see if we can put one down here for you. Okay. So this is Sinai Har Kodesh. Yes. So we have similar words up here, Har Kodesh, right? We have some similar ones. Oh, you picked it up, Sinai. Right, Sinai, which is the name Sinai. That's exactly right. You picked it up, Sinai. Very nice. Good job, Robin. Did you know that one? You seriously just put it together from hearing it. Right, exactly. Sinai, Har.
I thought that
Har-
was meant. until you said-
Hakodesh. So how would we do this one? We have Sinai, mountain, the holy. How would we maybe put that together?
The holy mountain of Sinai.
The holy mountain of Sinai. That's exactly right. It's exactly how you would do that. What's that? Well, so there's a few things. You could also say it might be Sinai is a holy mountain. You could do something like that as well. You could play with it a little bit. There's some flexibility behind it, but you rendered it exactly right. Here's my question. How do we know, since, Kodesh is modifying something, right? How do we know what it's modifying? Is it modifying mountain or is it modifying Sinai? Do you remember? It's the rules of gender, number, definiteness. So in this case, Sinai is singular, right? It is masculine in this case, and it is definite because there's only one Sinai, right? What's our other word over here that is masculine, singular, and definite? Har or HaKodesh? Which HaKodesh? Why HaKodesh?
Because it says,
The. It has a definite article on it. So we know that it's telling us that Sinai is the holy mountain. Sinai is the holy mountain. So it's Sinai modifying this back over here. Yep. Very nice, Robin. Impressive. She's been cheat studying. All right. So we looked at this one last week as well. Again, just some review. Brent, why don't you go ahead and read this top one for us here?
It's.
Very good. Very good. The king of the land, because the construct chains, if the absolute noun is definite, then the whole chain is definite. So this is the king of the land because we have this definite article right here. And then is gadol, is great. And it doesn't matter where the gadol is, if it is in front, if it's after, doesn't matter. It's the king of the land is great, gadol, or great is the king of the land. They're going to mean the same thing in all cases.
Why isn't it edits? Why is it audits?
In this form, right here, it's going to push because it rejects the dagesh.
Oh,
It pushes our dagesh down here, and that aleph is going to take a long vowel at that point. Yep. It's going to do that because it wants to push the accent forward. Eretz is it's a word that's pretty flexible with its vowels when it takes things.
I noticed that even in English, like we're pretty flexible with vowels, like they don't really matter.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Hebrews only consonants.
Yes.
Like in if I say I'm gonna park my car in the garage, and then I go to a British person who says I'm gonna park my car in the garage.
In the garage.
All the vowels in those sentences are completely different, but we understand what it means because of the consonants.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's true. Yeah, it's a good observation. So just like we had with Sinai, Har HaKadosh, we kind of talked about this already, that if we have some kind of a modifier out over here, we can tell what it's modifying by gender, number, definiteness. And I'm telling you guys, I know it sounds crazy. When you start to read, if you can remember this rule and put what words go with what together, it's 90% of reading Hebrew, of understanding it. It truly is. It took me to Hebrew D before all this kind of sunk in. Come 100 and some odd weeks into Hebrew before I went, oh, you know what? Those lessons back in A were really important. I should go back and rewatch those. And I did. And I had to work really hard to kind of to see it then. Then once you see it, it makes it easier, so much easier to know where the phrasing is. So let's come back around to you, Carol. I'll have you read this one right here.
Bene, David,
David, yep,
eh,
would be a ha.
oh, Hatza, David.
Dik, hatzadik, hatzadik. So that's a hirik yod.
Okay.
Hatzadik. Yeah, okay. So I've already given a little bit of information up here on this one. So this word we know is definite, absolute, masculine, singular. We know that. It has its definite article on the front with its little dagesh, so we know that. David is also masculine, singular, and definite because there's only one David. But B'nai is masculine, plural, and we know that because it's in a construct form with the A. So tzaddik or righteous cannot be modifying the sons. It has to be modifying David, which gives us the sons of righteous David. Doesn't make any sense in a sense. You're not gonna find that in the Bible. I'm just making these phrases up. Okay, so you won't find that, but it's telling you which object it's modifying. Whereas down here on the bottom, oh, Wayne, we came to the long one for you, man.
Talking to me. I was looking out the window.
Oh, man. But you can handle it, right? You're already here to do this one.
Banan. Is that right?
B'nai, so this is the name of David.
David.
So
Okay.
David.
David.
Mhm. That's okay. That's okay. So let's do this one together. B'nai David. Okay, B'nai David. Okay, so we got that one. Nope, this is a Dalet. So ha sa di hatsa di kim. It's a long one. Hatsa di kim. Hatsa di kim. So Zedak is our word right in here for righteous. We've had stuff bolted onto the front. Let me see if I still have my circle. We've got a prefix bolted onto the front of it. We've got a suffix bolted onto the back of it. What's im? Sus, susim. Sus, susim. Horses, masculine plural. Susim. Okay, susim. And it's gonna correspond back here with his b'nai. Because suse is horses of something. So ben a would be sons of something. Right? So we know this is sons of David. We know that one. The righteous horses, that's right. Yes. So on this one, we have a masculine plural. We know that from our ending. It's a definite noun. We know that also from the ending. Construct has a different ending. So in this case, the righteous modifies the sons because they're both in plural. Gender, number, definiteness. Okay. So we know that in this case, the sons of David are definite. They're attached to it. So we know it modifies it. So this is the righteous sons of David in this case. What's that? Well, yeah. Again, I was making these lines up.
So construct words won't ever have ha at the beginning of them.
Cannot, the construct
They
form
won't ever.
will never have the definite article on it, ever. The definite article will always be on the absolute form of the
That
noun.
makes sense. Save some time talking.
And if you have the definite article on the within the construct chain, then the whole construct chain becomes definite. The mountain, of the field, of the near the, or of the valley,
Yeah.
of holiness, the holiness. I mean, it all becomes definite if that last vowel or that last noun is definite. If you have a word that is in construct, so it's reduced vowels or it's in the construct suffix, you will never have a ha in front of it, ever. It just won't happen. If they want the chain to be definite, they will put the ha, I think I have it on the prior one. They will put the definite article on the noun that is not in construct. So the definite article here, that tells you this is the end of my chain. This is it. This is where the end ends. This is the beginning of my chain. The king of the land. If I take this ha away, it will be a king of a land. Rendered silence in the room. Sorry. That's okay. And then like any good language, we have ones that are flexible. We talked about this last week too, right? Shem Ish Tov. Go ahead and say that one for me. Steve, Shem Ish Tov. Shem Ish Tov. Yep. Which can mean there's where do you put the tov? The tov is the one that's modifying something, right? My Shem Ish, I know. This Shem is in a reduced form. It's a short vowel. So I know this is a name of a man, Shem Ish. But what I don't know is if it's a good name of a man or a name of a man is good. I don't know where to put it. It leaves it with some flexibility within it. So the rule is when you get to something slightly uncertain, what's the rule? It's context. Context. Exactly right. Exactly right. This is how, now for you men in the room, because this is one of the few times that I get to have an equal number of men in my life. All right. This is how you determine whether you're in trouble or you're having a good day, is you put whatever she just said into context of what just came before that and the appearance of her countenance. And then if her countenance falls, you have to stop and think, wait, what just happened? Because I think what I said was okay, but clearly it wasn't in context. So I need to kind of think back to what's happening. So you have to kind of expect there's going to be a little flexibility sometimes, but the context will usually answer that question. By the way, it's in phrases like this in Greek and Hebrew where most, believe it or not, most religious doctrines get formed, where there's flexibility in the translation and there's no clarity. You don't even know it. Exactly. Happens to me all the time. Happens to me all the time. So you can have a good name of a man, a name of a good man, or a name of a man is good. These two could be, it's really depends. What makes Proverbs really hard. This could be, it's possible, I should go look it up and see. This could be one half of an actual proverb. And so how do you render that into English? You have to look at the other half, the other side, you have to kind of figure it out. So there is some flexibility. The rules are always there to be broken. So Poppy, if you're not sure, what's the rule?
I don't know.
Oh,
Photographic memory.
all right. Yeah, exactly. Means you go look at the context and try to figure out what it's trying to say. All right. Here's our new stuff today, and it's a really fairly straightforward slide because the rest of it's going to be reading. To kind of figure out where to put these things, called inseparable prepositions. I believe we have had these words, yes, these are words, in our vocabulary. Be, le, ke. Okay, we believe we've had these words in here. Bet, the bet preposition means in, on, with, at, and about 30 other things. It could be closer to 50. It is an incredibly flexible preposition. Very, very flexible. In my Hebrew reading class on Thursday, we came to the end of to Genesis, I think it's 17 or 18, where God is making the proclamation that to the man and the woman, you're going to desire what he has and he's going to rule over you. Well, the wording there, when you go read it, it's, mashal, rule, and then it's bech, which means it's a bet preposition and another letter that means you. Okay, so it's bet you. And I'm in a class with all ladies. We've all completed and graduated out of the Hebrew program. We've been doing it for about 4 years. And they got to that bet preposition, and I said, have you ever considered that there's some other meanings to that? Because the word over, translating this bet over here, with the English word over, is, I think, number 22 on the list of how often it's used for over. 22. It's way down. It's not even in the top 20 times that bet is translated over. The number one is in, the second one is with. More than 8,000 times bet is translated with. So can you imagine how theology might change a little bit if your Bible said, and he shall rule with you instead of over you? And so guess what happens? Theology is built on a preposition and what it may or may not mean. This is where things are built, are in the ambiguous areas where it's really kind of up to your own translation with it. So these prepositions become kind of important. And it's true, right? I mean, let's take Brent and Robin for an example. They could be with each other, right? They could be dedicated to each other, and they might be meant to be like each other. I mean, there's a lot of variable, but within that bet alone, we could say that Robin is meant to be over Brent, right? I mean, it's possible, not just with it, but over him. Or maybe we could take the at form that you're coming at him. All right. And so you get these senses are kind of important to pay attention to when you see the prepositions, but it helps bring the paragraphs, the sentences together. Because obviously, if you've ever tried to speak in English and not use in, on, with, at, to, for, like, as, according to, it's really hard to speak the English language without those. So I put some little helps in here for you. The bet tends to lean to something about the presence. In other words, you're in the presence of that person. You're with them. You're in that place. You're on that thing. You're over. It's kind of a presence, sort of a preposition. Whereas the lamed, the la, tends to be something about possessing, having it in your grasp, to or for, something along those lines. Tends to be something like that. And then the kaf preposition is more about kind of a comparison, a parallelism to it, like, according to, something along those lines. So they tend to kind of fit those categories when you see them show up. Now, this is my favorite part about prepositions. They suck on tests because usually the test, one who makes the test is expecting a certain answer. But once you're free from all of that, which you guys always will be, you can essentially put whatever word you need where the preposition is, whatever word you need to help the sentence make sense. So if you have a bet, but it makes more sense to use the word for, just say for. Just use it. Okay, there's not really any hard and fast rules to these things. As an example, just kind of as an FYI, collectively, these three words represent almost 30,000 of the words in the Hebrew Bible. It's a big chunk. So yes, go ahead, Daisy. They do. In fact, we're gonna take a look at that right now. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So let's take a look at an example. Here we're gonna look at the Lamed example. And so Daisy, since you asked the question, we're gonna have you read the verse. So the,
Oh, I thought that was. What?
here, I'll tell you what, we'll do it together, okay? Vayikak et bat shua la isha. Okay, so we'll do it a little faster. Vayikak et bat shua la isha. Okay, all right. So I've helped with a few things here. Go ahead and stay there. So the vayikak is from lakak, means to take. Okay, so he took direct object marker. So he took something, the object. What's the object that he took? Well, he took a bat. What's a bat? So close. Daughter. That's right. He took the daughter. And whose daughter did he take? Shua's. It's a female sound. Now, what? So that's a makef. Tells you the words go together. Poppy? So how do we know this is a daughter of Shua in this form? No, that's part of it, but no. Does anybody know that would like to help her?
It's combined.
It's because
combined.
I always mix the words, but it's a patana instead of a comments.
Yes,
Yeah.
so here's a way to remember it. Susay, susat, susot. So susat is a construct ending. So I know this is daughter of Shua.
So it would be a comments, like bots, just the word has a comments, right?
Bot as an absolute form would be daughter, not daughter of. Yep. All right, so, and he took the daughter of Shua. So here's our new thing we just learned is the lamed in front of it. It is a word. So you want to go with of? So he took the, well, let's do this first. What's an isha? What's an isha? A woman or a wife? Okay. All right, well then let's go ahead and fill that one in down here. We'll put in wife. So he's taken her as a wife. But what's that lamed gonna do? And he took the daughter of Shua, blank wife. And I've given you some suggestions up here.
Of Shua. Um. Okay.
Nope, back here, this one. So let's do a couple. So he took the daughter of Shua to a wife. That wouldn't make any sense, right? Okay, hang with me. He took the daughter of Shua to a wife. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? He took, unless you're trafficking. He took the daughter of Shua for a wife.
Maybe.
For could work, right? He took the daughter of Shua of a wife. That doesn't even Poppy's like that's all right. He took the daughter of Shua as a wife. That one sounds good, right? Right? How about at a wife? No. No. All right. So sounds like for or as are kind of our two best ones. Which ones would you pick? There's no wrong answer between those two. At? As. All right, perfect. And you would have been just as fine to do for. Yep, either one. And he took the daughter of Shua as a wife. That's what this lamed is doing in front of that word. It's the preposition. Because it's an inseparable preposition. The bet, the kaf, and the lamed will never, ever, ever stand on their own.
Oh,
Ever.
okay. I
They
thought
are
they were
only
all-
attached as a prefix to a word.
Oh, okay.
They'll never be on their own. They're always attached, but they are a separate word. All right, very good, Daisy. Daisy, you did so well. I'm going to give you the privilege of picking who's going to read this one. You're going to do Carol?
Oh,
Oh, goodness.
great, thanks. Vayehe e R ka no
So that's a bet.
ba yeah be core
Perfect.
yeah
So this is Yehu.
Yahoo. Okay, I forgot to connect it as
That's
a
okay.
vowel. Daha da
Yehuda. Who does Yehuda sound like?
Judah
Judah. Yehuda. That's his name.
Ra
Mhm.
ba im ine
Very nice. And this is the divine name. So we would say
Yehovah.
Adonai or Hashem.
Okay.
You can say Yahweh if you would like, but as a courtesy, in case you're around
Other people say
people of the Jewish faith, show them respect and yeah. So Hashem or Adonai, either way. Hashem means the name, or Adonai, my Lord. Yep. All right. So here's how I remembered some of the rules about Shua. I know this word shows up every other sentence, sometimes twice in a sentence, a verse. Vayahi, vayahi. Okay, vayahi. And that's how I remember. I've got a short way. It's just vayahi. It helped me remember those shawas and kind of what gets done with them. So vayahi bekor Yehuda ra be'ene Adonai. All righty. So and this is we've actually kind of I think we're covering these characters maybe tomorrow in Torah, I think, or we already talked about and Onan. Did we already talk about and Onan? I don't think so. Yeah, it's in the story of Judah. So not yet. That's tomorrow. We'll talk about these characters tomorrow. All right. So Bekor is the firstborn. Okay. So here's a little reason to know your vocabulary. This is not a preposition on this word. The word is Bekor, and it means firstborn. So knowing your vocabulary helps you not mistranslate.
What does core mean?
Some will argue that kur is birth or born, So it'd be inborn and it doesn't work. Or of the born. So you have a couple dictionary entries. One is that this is a bet and they try to do the kaf, vav and a resh as the root. It doesn't really work. But the bet kaf resh as a root does work. It does work. So anyway, this one is tricky because you would see that and go, there's a preposition. It's not. This is a word. It's a whole word. Okay, so got to know your vocabulary. So firstborn of Yehuda. So we can put that one down here. I kind of think I gave you that one. So Judah was Ra. Was Ra, yeah, was let's do bad or evil. And then here's our preposition. So this is the one we're going to pay attention to. So does anybody remember what an ani is? Ani. What's an ani? What are anis? They're eyes. Exactly, they're eyes. Sounds like eyes. And how do you know that it's plural? Eyes and not just one eye. Has a yod. That's a sere. Has a sere yod. And what does a sere yod tell me? It's a plural, but it's also in a certain form. Nope, we know that would be masculine. Construct form. So that means it's going to be eyes of something. All right. So, and the firstborn of Judah was, that's the vayahi, is the was verb right here. Okay. Was Ra. And what about the bet? What are we going to do with the bet here? What would be the best translation? We know these are eyes.
Okay, yeah, man.
So in. So in, inside, within, among, in, onto, on, upon, by, at, through. This is a shortened form of the potentials of what bet can mean. So you basically just figure out which one fits. So let's, Carol, I think you're reading, right? So Be'enai Adonai. So it was the firstborn the firstborn of Judah was bad or evil in the eyes.
Yep.
Why the? Is Lord. Yeah, the Lord is definite in the eyes of the Lord. By the way, in your Bibles, when you see capitals, Lord in caps, this is the word that's always behind it. No. But in your English Bible, when you see Lord in all caps, this is the word behind Lord in all caps. It's the name of God. So Yahweh, but yes, Adonai or Hashem. So this is the divine name of God right here. So anytime you see Lord in all caps, you always know it's that behind it. All right, good job. Well, there's the bets. Let's see if we can figure out some coughs. All right, Carol, who do you want to pick?
Wait,
Oh, all
Randy, the rest of
right, do you want me to help you? Or do you want to take a shot at it?
I'll do the first. I'll do the first.
Okay, go ahead.
Amar.
Amar, perfect.
Uh,
So that'll be a hard P. Pen, perfect.
Amar.
So Yamut. Yamut.
Ki. Ga. Gam.
Gom, perfect. Who is he? He is she.
Who.
It's just a who. Gom who.
Who.
Mhm.
Yeah. Kara.
Just Ka'er.
Kara.
Mhm. That's an oo. Yep, perfect. I'll help you out with this in a little bit because it's a name. Uke onan. Uke onan. Mhm. So this one's a little trickier. That's all right. I'm gonna draw a few things out over here to kind of let you know. So we already saw a character named Air, right? And if we were reading the story, we would know that he has a brother whose name is Onan.
And that's a double N.
Mhm. So we have Air and Onan. We know those are names. This oo, what's this oo doing here? We have a vav at the first of a word. What is it always going to be? A connector, conjunction, and. That's right. So that one stands alone. So there's our first word on this whole word. So that tells me that this cough and this cough are prepositions in this mix. Okay, they're prepositions in here. So we'll come back over here. Amar pen yamut. Gamhu ke'er u ke'onan. Perfect. All right. So we filled some of this in. Amar. What have I mentioned about this word that's really important to pay attention to when you see Amar? It's what? He said, this is a word that means direct speech is coming. Somebody's about to quote something. So he said, and then we would in English go quote, quote, right here. So the beginning of it. Pen yamut, lest he also, lest, so this, square with me on this one. Pen is lest he also moot, die. Okay. Ka'er u ke'onan. So I've put air and onan in here. So we need to figure out these prepositions. Lest he also die, something air, like. I'm gonna go with like. Okay. Like will work there. What would our other one be?
When?
According to, I mean, you see the flexibility? You put in whatever word you need with the preposition to help you get through the phrase. And it's very flexible. It's where you get some freedom to kind of figure some stuff out. But be careful as a Hebrew Bible reader of creating doctrine on prepositions. Okay. So, and he said, lest he also die like air and like Onan, or as air and like Onan. It's whatever flexible you want. But you see how this one's kind of a parallelism, a comparison. It happened like this. It's a kind of a picture of what happened there. In Genesis, when God says, let us make man according to our image and in our likeness, do you want to take a guess as to what the prepositions are? According to, ka, and in our likeness, be. Those are the prepositions that show up in front of those words. So one's kind of a parallelism, according to how our image, right? And in our likeness. It's a very flexible word. All right, so we're not done. We get a little bit more for you here. Good stuff. Very good. Let me just really thoroughly confuse you now. What if I want to have a definite article on the word that I'm putting a preposition in front of? Well, it's really simple. This is my form of the preposition is the bet shawa, lamed shawa, kaf shawa. That's my form. And rarely you may see the form change, but it's pretty trustworthy. But if I see something that's this bet with a patak and a dagash, this form right here should raise my attention if I see something like that, because if I have a hey here instead of a bet, I know I have a definite article. So if you want to say in the, or for the, or like the, well, you just smash them together in Hebrew. The shawa goes away and the preposition takes on the vowel and the dagesh of the definite article. And it follows exactly the same rules as the definite article. If it's before a hey, it'll just be a patak and there won't be a dagesh. If it's before a guttural that rejects the dagesh, the vowel just lengthens. It's all the same rules, but here's an easy way to remember it. If you see the bet preposition in front of a word and it has anything other than a shawa, just translate it though. And if you see a bet preposition with a shawa in front of a word and it doesn't make sense to say it without the word the, just say the word. Just say it.
So it become for the, because it's a
It's simply, it changes the vowel below it and a dagesh if the next letter will take it. And what this tells you is what you really have is a beh, ha. But they just smash it together. The hey disappears, the bet takes on its vowels, and you know there's a the.
It's like a contraction.
It's like a contraction. It's exactly like a contraction. Yep. Yep. So you'll see that form. If you learn this, then anytime you see something different, remember I've said, if you see a hey, why are you there? Right? These are some of those letters that you just pay attention to. When I see something's there, learn it with a shawa. Always has a shawa. If it doesn't, something's happening. The only thing that can be happening is it might be a definite article. Probably is. It's the only other change you can have in it. It's fairly simple. If you know your hays, your definite articles, then you can do your prepositions as well. So let's take a look at an example over here and see that. All right, Wayne, who are you picking on?
Jeremy.
Oh, you want me to do it? I already have the answer. I'm going to defer and I'm going to give it to Brent. We're giving this one to Brent. Yep, perfect. Reuven, yep.
Bor.
Perfect.
Hine.
Perfect.
Oh, that would be Ain.
Ain.
Yosef.
Mm-hmm.
Bor.
Babor. Very nice. Good job. All right. And something or someone went. Okay. Vayeled. He went. Well, who went? Who is this?
Reuben.
Reuben. That's right. Not the sandwich. One of the children. Okay. And Reuben went. What's L? To. He went somewhere. He went to. Do you know bore? The word bore?
Pit.
The pit. The pit. Now, how do we know it's the pit? Exactly. And hene, behold, holy cow. Ein Yosef, which means Ain. Oh, you look like you want to say something. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's your gut say?
I was thinking the other word, but now I don't remember what it was.
So ain, just add a T on the end of it. Ain't. There ain't no Joseph.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, Ain Yosef. So there was not Joseph. And then we have our word here. This preposition on here, the bet preposition. So how would we render that one?
And
In the bit.
what's the word for there is again?
Yesh.
I thought it was like in.
So ain is there ain't none. Yesh is yes, there are.
I thought it was like this, the same word, but like short.
Mm-mm.
I'm thinking of something else.
And Reuben went to the pit, and behold, the was not, or there was not. We would straighten that up a little bit, which I'd have to get in here and figure out why I can't get into that. And there was not Joseph in the pit, but you can smooth it out, right? Reuben went to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. But that's how we know it's not in the pit, that Joseph is supposed not just in any pit. The pit is from this bet right here that has the same form as the hay right here. So you see a bet with the two below, we'd know it'd be in a pit. All right. Very good. Very, very good. All right, one more. Brant, who you want to send this one to?
I knew it was coming.
And if you need some help, just let me know. I can help you out. Vatisha, perfect. These are rare words and they're difficult. So la ho temet.
Uh,
No, you're good. Valap. Teal.
Teal.
Mhm. Te. Valama te.
share,
Perfect.
bear, bear,
So this is beyad. I'll give you a hint. Yehu.
Oh,
Yehuda. Yehuda. Pretty soon when you read more, you'll start to see their names and go, okay, I know that name. That's why I suggested study names, because you kind of you'll remember them when you see them and they help you pronounce it. So sha'al is our word for ask or inquire right here. Sha'al. The T in the front, you'll learn this. We'll start learning these probably about 4 or 5 weeks. The T in the front tells me that it's a verb. And tells me that it's a feminine verb. Somebody's asking, and it's she in this case. She's inquiring. She's sha'aling, but you don't know that yet. You might know sha'al. So, and she asked la hotemet. Now, hotemet is a seal, like a seal you would seal a letter with. So this la right here with a patak, how would we maybe render that one? For, sorry?
She asked for a seal.
Well, she didn't ask for just any seal. Would she
The
taken
seal.
any guys? No, the seal. The seal. How do we know it's the? What's our regular form of the preposition? Is two shawas. Okay, this does not have the two shawas. It has a patak. But you say But Jeremy, there's no dagesh. Who cares? It doesn't have the two shwas. Doesn't matter. Okay. Then you know. All right. So, and la patil. What's a la patil? Well, that's a cord. It's another, think of it like your driver's license in the ancient Near East. Okay. So la patil, how would we do this one? For the, sure, that works. Cord. And la mate. The mate is his staff. It's actually the banner for the tribe of Judah. It is the staff of his tribe. It will become the marker. So she wants and for the staff. And this is a good example. I like this one because here we have a het rejects the dagesh because it's a guttural. So it's not ever going to take it. Here our preposition takes the dagesh because who cares? Just to pay. Nobody cares about that one. And here our mem takes the dagesh, doesn't reject it, takes it just fine. So we see the form of the preposition in where it's absorbed the definite article. So, and she asked for the seal and for the cord and for the staff. Tell you what, that is one expensive prostitute. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of it. We'll talk about this tomorrow, but I'm telling you, that's you're handing essentially your identification over. She can pen a letter, put his seal on it, and send it out, and it's as though he sent it. It's identity theft. Yeah, you're right. This is the first identity theft in scripture. It's perfect. Good job. Yeah, it's excellent. All right, asher. How would we render asher here, the relative particle? And she asked for the seal and for the cord and for the staff. Do you remember asher?
Is that what she said or whatever?
Asher is different.
Oh,
Well, let's maybe look at the rest and see if we can solve it. Okay. So let's do the be yad. We'll do the rest of this one. What's a yad? A hand. And what's the bet doing in front of it? It's a preposition, the bet preposition. Bet is in, among. Oh, so in a hand, but it's not just anybody's hand, right? It's whose hand? Judah. So if it's in Judah's hand, that means it's in the hand of Judah. But I could say, and you could go with that one, belonging to. So a share, let's go, we'll do this one. We'll throw this one up here and say in the hand of Judah. So what word's going to fit best right here? It's the word, the relative particle that's describing what is there. So we could say for the staff that is, or which is, something like that, that says here's the rest of the phrase that tells us what's happening. That's what a share is going to do here. So probably that or which. And she asked for the seal and for the cord and for the staff that is in the hand of Judah. That's a big ask. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing she took it too, because it's going to save her life later.
Amen.
It's going to save her life later. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It belongs to the men who these belong to. It's a great scene. I love it. All right. Any questions on prepositions? All right. You guys are doing good reading. I'm impressed. Get better every week. Keep practicing with some of that. All right. We'll do a little vocab and then send you out unless you have any other questions. Any questions on prepositions? Good. All right. In your reading that I sent, the little translation exercise, something you can do is just go through and see if you can identify just the preposition, the bet, the lamed, the kaf. Just identify and put a little circle or line under them, just kind of figure out where they are so you can start to see them. All right. More numbers. I was gonna skip them, but we'll just do them because they'll be pretty easy once you get to know them. So I'll go ahead and say them. You can follow along. Ehad, which means one. Ehad. Can also be ahad. You see how the vowels change? They shorten here, puts it in a construct form. Don't worry about that. Just memorize ehad. Yeah, ehad. That's it. What is a yom ehad? One day. One day. Yom ehad. You might also see ahat. How would we know this is feminine? The at the end of it, that construct, feminine form. So it's one, but in a feminine form. It's just, don't worry about that. You know how often you see one feminine? Rarely. Ofeh. 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 All right, that's the baker. It's also the word for bodyguard, because the baker was the guard of the king. Yeah, sure. If he's making your food, he's going to be the most important person in your entire household. So the ofe, he bakes and he breaks whoever tries to come into the door. Bodyguard. Boker. Boker. If I were to say Boker Tov, good morning. Boker Tov. If Jay were here and he might be on the phone, I see an iPhone joined. He heard that when he was in Israel. Boker Tov.
Yes.
Good morning.
Hey, my guy said Boker Tov.
Yep, good morning. And when he got off the bus, he might say Erev Tov. Good evening.
Every stinking morning, way too early. Boker Tov, lakum, lakum.
Oh, lakum, arise, arise. Exactly. Boker. Now you know how it's spelled.
Doesn't make it any more enjoyable.
Excellent. Chamonix. Chamonix. So you had 8 earlier, so you can hear it in here, the shemen. This is an interesting word with the 8. I need to find a study that I had on this. Shemen is the word for oil, like an anointing oil. And it actually has some interesting links to the number 8, believe it or not. So these words for the numbers, they have these relationships to certain things, like Sheva to 7 means an oath or completion, something like that. So Shemone, 8. It's a great. Yeah, it's all these little things that come together where these words have these relationships in them. It makes it a really pretty poetic language, a very visual language in that way. Shemonim means 80. One of my favorite words, shnai, second. Well, you came in second, shnai. Right. Okay, I have to give it that Valley Girl thing, shnai, right? Something like that. Second, not 2, second. It is a little bit. Yeah. Fun fact, shnai also means red cord, kind of like the one that the harlot used to pin on the window to mark the window. Rahab. Yep. Shanayim means 2. It's a masculine version of 2. You can see the relationship, Shnayim here. Kind of get the same sound in here, but just memorize Shnayim. It's easier. Shesh. 6. Shesh. Shemesh is the sun, by the way. Shemesh. And then we have Shishi. 6th in line together. And you can just see with the pattern right here, E's They're orders, ordinals, shni, second, shishi, sixth. So you just add that.
Don't say that to Philippines.
Yeah, well,
Means you're
there's,
going pee-pee.
oh, it means you're going pee-pee? In my case, it might be for the sixth time.
Why does that have an E? T, or T, T, T?
Because the numbers are full of irregulars. And this is why spending a lot of time on it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Learn one form. When you see the eam forms, when you see the eames, you know, you just basically put a 0 after the other number most of the time, except for 1, 2, 1 and 2. They're unique. And then if you want the feminine, the masculine form of these numbers, 3 through 10, you put an ah on the end. Susa, female horse. But if you want a masculine number, you put an ah on the end. They're all irregular. So to me, just memorize the form of the word, the core root version of it, just those 10, and just work it out from there. Otherwise, you'll end up, I think there's almost 100 different forms in the numbers. It's a waste of time. It's just a waste of time. You don't have them showing up that often. And when they do, you'll read the word and think, oh, wait, these are numbers. And that's when you stop and go look it up. Okay. Because it gets challenging with the numbers. It really does. Perhaps you can just from that little taste understand why people start to get really skeptical of numbers that are used in scripture, because they're really challenging to work out. So, but great question. It's a perfect question, and totally normal. There's just no good answer for it with numbers yet. Shishim, 60. Here's another one. Shatayim, to feminine, right? Here we have an I am, but it's a feminine form. See, they're all irregular. And that's why I don't like to memorize them, but that's what this curriculum does. Tashishi, sorry, Tashi'i, Tashi'i. I noticed Tesha. Tesha is 10 or 9. Tesha, right here. I don't memorize these forms, they're too hard. Tesha, Tesha, just memorize the numbers, 9. And Tishim, 90. Tishim, 90. So just focus just on the numbers themselves. That's all you really need to do. 9, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 8. Just do just the numbers. Don't worry about all the other forms. Don't even put them in your vocab list. You'll be confused. Okay, just it's confusing. There's a whole chapter on going through how to form numbers and how to create it. We're going to skip all of that. All right. No, I can't imagine doing Hebrew math, quite frankly. It's hard enough to just do math in the text, because they start with like the hundreds place and then the tens place and then the single digits place, and it's all in construct, and they have to figure out what this number actually adds up to. It becomes a bit of a challenge. So
Kind of like when Abraham was speaking with the Lord. Heard about 50 and.
yeah. Yep, exactly. And I think he does 20, what is it? Does he do a 35 and then maybe a 25?
50, 45, 40, and I think he keeps going.
That's right.
30, 20, and-
Yeah, the 45. So the 45 has 40 and then 5. And so the way it reads is 40 and 5, and you've got but the forms are strange because he's talking about the righteous. Well, tzaddik is actually a feminine form word. So when the numbers pop up, you don't recognize them because they have endings that are weird in the context of the sentence. You're like, wait, I don't see these feminine form numbers that often. And so it gets really confusing unless you're reading it all the time. And there just aren't that many references to numbers like that. There are to some, the 3s, the 5s, the 40s, some of those numbers shows up the sevens, they show up all the time. And you'll just recognize them instantly when you see. In fact, the Siobhan number for 7, it's a struggle because I learned it as 7 and then you see it show up as an oath. I'm like, well, wait, that's the number 7. No, it's the word for oath. So it can get a little confusing. So my suggestion is stick with just the base plain number. You can work the form out in the context of the verse as you come through. All right, cool. Questions? You guys did good tonight? All good? All right, you got to cover for your Torah Tuesday people, which I think is almost all of you, if you make it as well. We'll actually cover some of these verses tomorrow. There, probably zoom in. Yeah, you're welcome to for sure.
I blocked myself out laughing.
Ah.